Overthinking isn't your flaw. It's the sign that you see and feel more than most people ever will. What if the very thing you've been told is a weakness is actually proof that you're a deep thinker? You pick up on details, emotions, and hidden truths that others don't even notice. It's not that you think too much, it's that the world often doesn't think enough. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist who explored the depths of the human mind, once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart." Jung believed that those who feel deeply and process life intensely are not broken, they are simply awake in a world that prefers sleepwalking. This is why your overthinking is not noise, it's insight waiting to be understood. In this video, we'll uncover the subtle signs that reveal you're a deep thinker, perhaps without even realizing it. And once you see these patterns, you'll learn how to turn your sensitivity into your greatest strength. If you've ever felt out of place because you notice what others ignore, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll discover how your mind holds a power most people never unlock. 1. The burden of seeing beneath the surface. Have you ever felt like you're watching a play that everyone else believes is real? The smiles, the laughter, the small talk. It all seems so effortless to them, but you can see what's hidden beneath. It's not that you're trying to overanalyze, it's that you can't help noticing the tremble in someone's voice when they say, "I'm fine," or the way their eyes shift when a subject cuts too close. What if this isn't overthinking at all, but the rare ability to see through the masks the world wears? Take Sarah, for example. At every gathering, she feels like an outsider, not because she wants to be, but because she can't ignore what's unsaid. She notices the cracks in the surface, how Michael's cheerful stories about work are shadowed by fear of failure, or how Jennifer's smile tightens when someone asks about her marriage. Sarah's mind works like a spotlight, revealing truths that others glide past. At first, she thought something was wrong with her. Why couldn't she just enjoy the moment like everyone else? But over time, she realized her sensitivity was not a flaw, but a deeper form of awareness. Carl Jung believed that the more intelligent and self-aware a person is, the more they suffer from the general unconsciousness of society. This insight explains why deep thinkers often feel isolated. You see through illusions that most people are content to live inside. It's like being the one person who can see the strings holding up the puppet show. You can't unsee it, and that awareness becomes both a gift and a burden. Nietzsche, too, spoke of this kind of solitude, describing free spirits who break free from conventional thinking only to find themselves wandering a wilderness no one else dares to enter. But here's the hidden truth. This ability to see beneath the surface is what makes you powerful. It's what allows you to understand others on a level that goes beyond words. Most people are caught in a cycle of performance, rehearsed smiles, polite answers, carefully crafted personas. You, on the other hand, sense when something isn't real. You feel when the energy in the room shifts, when someone's mask slips, when the truth lingers just beyond the edge of their words. This isn't overthinking, it's deep seeing. So now you have to ask yourself, is this awareness a curse? Or is it the compass that's guiding you toward your true purpose? Imagine what would happen if you stopped seeing your depth as a problem and started treating it as a strength. How much more powerful could you become if you embraced this insight instead of hiding it? And here's the truth most people will never tell you. Seeing beneath the surface is both a gift and a weight. You can't unsee what others ignore, and that's why you often feel out of place. But what if I told you this gift didn't appear by accident? In just a moment, we'll dive into where this depth truly comes from and why its roots, often buried in your own childhood, might hold the secret to who you really are. Skip this, and you'll miss the key to understanding yourself in a way that could change everything. 2. The origins of deep thinking. Have you ever wondered why some people question everything while others seem content with surface answers? The truth is, deep thinking isn't something you choose, it chooses you. It often begins with a moment of discomfort, a feeling that what everyone else accepts as normal doesn't make sense to you. There's a story about a child who asked why grown-ups smile even when they're clearly upset. At first, the adults brushed it off, telling them to stop asking such strange questions. But that child couldn't stop noticing the cracks, the fake smiles, the contradictions, the empty words. Over time, those small cracks widened into big questions about life, love, and truth. Maybe you were that child. Maybe you still are. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher who inspired both Nietzsche and Jung, once compared humans to hedgehogs trying to keep warm in winter. We huddle together for connection, but if we get too close, we hurt each other. Deep thinkers often feel like those hedgehogs, desperate for real warmth, but unable to play the shallow games that keep others comfortable. Their minds are wired to dig deeper, to question what's hidden beneath appearances. Carl Jung believed this depth comes from something ancient in our psyche, a memory of truths we've forgotten but can't escape. Modern neuroscience supports this idea. Dr. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive people shows that around 20% of the population processes life on a deeper level, noticing details and emotions that most people miss. This is both a gift and a burden, shaping how deep thinkers experience the world. And here's where it gets interesting. This difference isn't just about being smart or thoughtful. It's about a nervous system that feels more. A heart that sees beyond the obvious. It explains why surface-level conversations can feel exhausting and why the deep thinker is often drawn to solitude, not out of rejection of others, but as a way to protect their energy. You're about to see why these early moments of questioning can shape someone's entire life. If you've ever felt like your mind is too much or too intense, stay with me, because what feels like a curse might actually be your greatest strength. So now you know that deep thinking often begins as a kind of inner rebellion against the surface-level noise of the world. But what happens when this depth meets a society built on speed, distraction, and superficiality? For now, take a moment and think back. When was the first time you realized you saw things differently? Hold that thought, because in a moment, we'll explore why this early awareness can turn into a lifelong struggle for meaning and connection. Once you see how these origins shape every part of your life, you'll realize there's a turning point where this burden becomes a superpower. And that's exactly what we'll uncover in the next part, the struggle for meaning in a surface world. If this resonates with you, share how you're feeling right now in the comments. Your words might become the reason someone else realizes they're not alone. 3. The struggle for meaning in a surface world. What if the emptiness you feel isn't because you're broken, but because the world around you is too shallow to nourish your mind and soul? It's a confronting thought, one that deep thinkers know all too well. Take the story of Laura, a woman working in a high-paying corporate job. Every day, she sat through endless meetings, nodding along as colleagues discussed quarterly targets and marketing metrics. But behind her polite smile, there was a growing ache. She didn't care about the numbers. She cared about people, about ideas, about the deeper why behind every action. The moment that broke her was simple, when she realized she was spending her life chasing goals that meant nothing to her, just to keep up the illusion of success. Maybe you've felt that too, the quiet despair of living someone else's script. Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, once said that humans can endure almost any suffering if they can find meaning in it. But what happens when society strips life of meaning, replacing it with empty distractions? The deep thinker struggles here, because they can't numb themselves with endless small talk, mindless scrolling, or shallow validation. They see through the performance of happiness, and it exhausts them. The pain isn't just about being different. It's about the constant tension of wanting depth in a world that thrives on the surface. When you're someone who values authenticity, shallow conversations can feel suffocating. When you need purpose, routine jobs that lack heart feel like slow poison. And yet, society rewards this surface living, calling it efficiency, calling it normal. But here's the truth. This tension, this discomfort, is not a curse. It's a calling. You're about to see why this hunger for meaning is proof that you are meant for more, not less. Think about this. How many times have you silenced your deeper questions just to fit in? How many times have you ignored that quiet voice inside you that longs for something real? That voice is not just asking for attention, it's offering you a way out of the surface trap. For now, take 30 seconds and remember the last time you felt truly alive, when a moment of real connection or insight made you feel like you'd touched something infinite. Hold that memory close, because in the next part, we'll explore the frequency of truth, the rare state where deep thinkers resonate with something most people can't even sense. If you skip this, you risk missing the key to why you've always felt different, and why that difference is the very thing that can set you free. 4. The frequency of truth. What if the reason you feel disconnected from others isn't because something is wrong with you, but because you're tuned into a frequency they can't hear? Imagine carrying a truth so clear and powerful that it feels like you're the only one awake in a room full of dreamers. Take Daniel's story. In his office, everyone laughed at shallow jokes and celebrated meaningless wins, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. One day, while others were gossiping about the latest office drama, he quietly asked, "Does any of this actually matter?" His question was met with blank stares and awkward silence. He realized then that he wasn't meant to stay on that surface level, and maybe, just maybe, you felt the same. Carl Jung often wrote about the collective unconscious, a shared realm of archetypes, fears, and hidden truths that shapes humanity. Most people never notice it because they're distracted by the noise of everyday life. But deep thinkers, they sense the cracks. They hear the subtle tone in someone's voice that reveals fear, the pause between words that carries unspoken pain. They see through the layers of performance and touch what's real, even when it's uncomfortable. This kind of awareness is both a gift and a burden. Once you see the truth behind the veil, you can't go back to pretending. It's like seeing color after living in black and white. Everything else feels hollow, staged, false. And while others might accuse you of being too intense or negative, the reality is, you simply refuse to live in denial. You're about to discover why this ability to perceive truth, though isolating, is one of the greatest strengths you can possess. It's the power that allows you to see what others can't, and to live more authentically than most people ever will. So ask yourself, have you ever felt like you're the only one who notices the real story beneath the words, the tension under the smile? That's not an accident, it's your signal. For now, pause and think about the last time you sensed someone's unspoken pain or saw through a lie that everyone else believed. Hold that memory, because in the next part, we'll explore the emotional sponge. The moment when seeing the truth doesn't just open your mind, but floods your heart with everything others try to hide. If you skip this, you might miss the key to understanding why you feel so much and why that sensitivity is your ultimate strength. If this video helped you see your life from a new perspective, share it with someone you care about. It could be the gentle reminder they need today to feel a little lighter. 5. The emotional sponge. Have you ever walked into a room and felt a storm brewing even though everyone else seemed at ease? That's not your imagination, it's your sensitivity picking up what others choose to ignore. And if you've ever wondered why you feel drained after being around people, this may be the missing answer you've been searching for. Think of Maya, who could sense tension at family dinners before a single harsh word was spoken. She knew when her parents were quietly fighting, even when they smiled. She could tell when her friend was on the verge of tears, even behind a bright laugh. Maya thought something was wrong with her. Why did she feel so heavy when no one else seemed to notice? It wasn't weakness. It was her ability to tune into emotions that others suppressed. Carl Jung described this as part of the collective unconscious, a realm where unspoken emotions flow like invisible currents. Deep thinkers, especially those who are naturally empathetic, don't just see through the masks people wear. They absorb the emotions hiding beneath. Psychiatrist Dr. Judith Orloff calls this being an emotional sponge. It's why you can feel the weight of someone's anxiety or sadness as if it's your own, even when they haven't said a word. The truth is, this gift can feel like a curse. It's exhausting to carry pain that doesn't belong to you. But hidden in this burden is a strength most people never discover. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a form of emotional intelligence that allows you to read what others can't. When you learn how to manage it, it can become one of your greatest tools for connection and understanding. In 30 seconds, I'll show you why this very sensitivity, when harnessed, can make you unshakable in a world that tries to numb itself. But first, ask yourself, how many times have you confused someone else's emotions for your own? For now, take a moment and think of the last time you left a conversation feeling emotionally heavy for no reason. That memory holds a clue about your gift. And in the next part, the mask of normality and societal rejection, you'll see why this gift often sets you apart from others and how to turn it into your greatest advantage. Miss the next part, and you might miss the key to finally understanding why you've always felt different and why that difference is your superpower. 6. The mask of normality and societal rejection. Have you ever felt like you had to shrink yourself just to be accepted? Like you must wear a version of you that feels polished and safe, even if it's not who you truly are? This is the silent prison many deep thinkers find themselves in. A mask crafted not from vanity, but from sheer survival. Consider Daniel, who grew up realizing his thoughtful questions made people uncomfortable. At school, teachers told him to stop asking too much. At work, colleagues rolled their eyes when he raised concerns that others ignored. Eventually, he learned to hide his depth behind polite smiles and small talk, blending in to avoid rejection. But the cost of this mask was heavy. Every unspoken thought felt like a stone added to his chest. Psychologist Dr. Karen Hall calls this invisible weight emotional labor, the unacknowledged work of managing not only your own feelings but also the discomfort of others. Deep thinkers often perform this labor silently, becoming the ones who listen, who hold space, who carry the emotional weight that no one else wants to face. Yet the world rarely recognizes this effort. Instead, it often labels them as too much or too intense, pushing them further into isolation. Jean-Paul Sartre spoke of bad faith, the way we pretend to be what we are not to avoid the anxiety of being fully authentic. For deep thinkers, this mask of normality isn't about lying to themselves. It's about softening their truth so that it doesn't overwhelm those who live on the surface. But the irony is that hiding their depth doesn't protect them, it drains them. In 30 seconds, I'll reveal why this mask, while necessary at times, can quietly erode your sense of self and leave you feeling more invisible than ever. Because when you wear a mask too long, you risk forgetting who you were underneath. So now you see why many deep thinkers end up exhausted, not just from the world, but from carrying this unspoken performance. But what happens when the mask finally cracks? When being acceptable is no longer worth the price of losing yourself? For now, take a moment and think of the last time you held back a thought or an emotion because you feared being misunderstood. Hold that memory, because in the next part, the emotional weight of rejection and the need for authentic connection, We'll uncover how breaking this mask can transform the way you see yourself and the world. Miss the next part, and you might miss the exact key to stepping out of this exhausting cycle and into a life where your depth becomes your greatest strength. If this video touched you, or if you think there's something I can do better, please leave a comment. Tell me what spoke to you and what could be clearer. Your feedback helps us create content that truly matters. There comes a moment when every deep thinker realizes that their sensitivity, their depth, and their relentless curiosity are not flaws to be hidden but strengths to be embraced. This conclusion is not just about wrapping up ideas. It's about reminding you of the immense value that lies in the way you feel, observe, and think. It's a call to see your mind not as a burden, but as a powerful instrument for change, healing, and authentic living. Throughout this journey, we've explored the struggles and beauty of those who think deeply. We've seen how the deep thinker moves between the visible and the invisible, between what is spoken and what is left unsaid. We've understood that what feels like isolation is often the birthplace of unique insight, that what feels like rejection can lead to profound self-acceptance. Each part of this conversation has been a step toward reclaiming the truth of who you are beneath the surface. But here's the truth. The world often doesn't make it easy for deep thinkers. It rewards quick answers and shallow performances, while those who seek meaning and authenticity are told to stop overthinking or to just fit in. Yet history, philosophy, and psychology all remind us that the voices that challenge the surface are the ones that shape the future. Friedrich Nietzsche called them free spirits, those rare souls who refuse to be trapped by illusions and conformity. Carl Jung saw them as bridges between the conscious and unconscious, holding the keys to transformation that most people never dare to see. You are one of those bridges. Every time you choose honesty over convenience, depth over distraction, you are doing something revolutionary. Yes, it's heavy at times. Your mind doesn't just skim life, it dives. It questions. It notices the cracks where truth leaks through. But this is not a curse. It's the very thing that allows you to see clearly in a world that often chooses to stay blind. So let this be your reminder. Your sensitivity is your superpower. Your depth is your treasure. Your intensity, the way you feel everything so strongly, is not a problem. It's the sign that you are truly alive, truly awake. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more voices like yours. Voices that can cut through the surface and speak to the heart of what really matters. Take a moment to imagine what your life could look like if you fully embraced this part of yourself. What if your sensitivity stopped being something you apologized for and instead became the foundation of your strength? What if your depth guided you to connections that are real, work that is meaningful, and a sense of purpose that can't be shaken by superficial standards? That vision isn't far away. It begins the moment you decide to stop hiding. If this message resonates with you, if you see yourself reflected in these words, I invite you to stay connected. Follow this channel not just for the insights we share, but because every new perspective you gain will bring you closer to understanding your own mind and soul. Every video here is designed to help you grow, to help you see the world and yourself with clearer eyes and a stronger heart. And we're just getting started. In the next video, we'll explore how deep thinkers can turn their greatest vulnerabilities into sources of power and creativity. Something you won't want to miss. Because once you understand how to transform your inner world, you'll never see your mind the same way again.